My name's Chris. This is my wife, Eileen. And we've been asked to share a little bit about
Hamilton.
marriage and ours and what's going on and things we have learned over the course of years. We've been married for 46 years. We met 3 years before we got married. Met in high school. We're high school sweethearts. In 11th grade, started dating in the 12th grade, and got married when I was a sophomore in college. Both our folks were, we're military, we're career service, and we have moved all around as kids. And after we got married, we continued that moving. Every 2 or 3 years, we'd either change apartments or homes, or I'd get new jobs, and we'd go back and forth. So it's been kind of a blessing for us. We've enjoyed it, and been lots of things going on in our lives.
We have 4 children, 3 daughters and a son, and we have 17 grandchildren. We're going to put a disclaimer. We are not in any way, shape, or form experts in marriage. When we got married, we were 20. We had absolutely no clue what we were doing, other than we knew we loved each other.
At least I thought I did. I thought I knew what love was, and as I have grown in our marriage, I realized at that point I did not have any kind of clue what love really meant. But God has worked on us.
When we got married, we were not believers. We thought we were, but we weren't. And so it was trial and error. We made many mistakes, and God was faithful, and He saw us through all the different seasons of life. I think that's one thing that I'm kind of excited at our advanced age. We can
speak for yourself. I'm not advanced.
He's 4 months younger than me, so he lets me know that from time to time.
Yeah, on the 4 months when I am actually younger, I let her know. If you can find yourselves a role model where you can have fun with, you can do life with, that helps. Eileen and I began to pray together.
We would lay in bed at night, the lights would be off, and I'd hold his hand, and then we'd just pray.
You need to make sure that you and your wife are having time for each other.
You create your own fun. And I think that's a key word, is fun. I think laugh. I think find things to laugh about. When we've had a stressful day, if we can just find something that will catch our funny bone, so to speak, and we'll just laugh, and it's almost contagious, and then you can't stop laughing. You really need God's grace. We still hold hands, and we still hug. You know, we like to snuggle on the couch when we're watching TV. Don't take each other for granted.
Encourage one another. Not taking offense. Listening
That's a
to the
big
other.
one.
And that's hard. Don't just wait to talk and then, okay, she's through, now I can share mine. Listen to what she's saying.
So, ladies, I know you're busy, and I know you have a lot of things on your plate, but when your husband wants to talk, listen.
And husbands, talk. Share your day. Share what's going on in your life, how you're feeling. And those are tough to do. And that was tough for me to do because I'm a man. You don't cry. You don't share those feelings. You don't have those feelings. But you do. If you're honest with yourself, you have them. And there's times when I needed to cry. Now, after knowing the Lord, I found I could cry when I was happy. Something I had never done before. God changed me that way. Discuss how you want to do things. There's no set way that, well, because my parents did it this way, we have to. You decide between the two of you what works for you. What may work for Eileen and I may not work for you, but you can find what does work for you. And then work those things out. And they take time. This is not something that happens overnight. It's like when I used to go to Promise Keepers. And one of the times we went, they talked about getting out of debt. And that you needed to do this. Now, we had some debt, and I was not willing to stand up and say, I'm going to get out of debt, because I knew it took 2 of us. Eileen and I had to be in agreement. We came home and decided we did want to get out of debt. And we'd been doing the tithing, but we still had credit card debt. And God allowed us to do it. You don't get in debt typically overnight. You don't get out of debt overnight, but you do plan. As a couple, plan things. Plan your expenses, plan your expenditures, plan your vacations together. The planning is part of the excitement and part of the journey. Look for ways to complement each other, to encourage each other. I am probably the worst when it comes to picking up on subtle hints. I need to be hit with a 2x4. I can remember going out one time at a Christmas time, and Eileen was, oh, this is neat. Wow, look at that. Isn't this so cool? Oh, yeah, it's cool, yeah. Finally, our youngest daughter, Jody, came up and says, Dad, Mom wants you to get that for her. Totally blew right past me. But I'm learning to pick up on those. Oh, that's something I could do. And I said, listen again. It all comes back to what can you do to help, to encourage. Eileen wanted to take CNA. We were in your 40s. Mm-hmm. I wanted her to do it too. Did she need to do it? No. Did she need to work at that point?
I'd always wanted to be a nurse when I was younger, but my parents couldn't afford, they didn't have college loans and things like that years ago. So I never went to nursing school. So after our kids were gone, I thought, well, to get my foot in the door, I'll go back and see what it's like. And I would get my CNA degree, which is a nursing assistant. And I got it, and I passed, and I hated it. And it cost us some money, and it cost some time. But I'm glad I did it because...
And I'm glad she did it because it was something she wanted to try, and she would not have known that she didn't like it unless she tried it. So help each other to take that step, to take a chance. But the Lord will be faithful, and He makes the difference.
Amen. My being raised is totally different from the way Chris was. And so here I come into the marriage and Chris comes into the marriage, and the honeymoon doesn't count because that's not a real environment. And then all of a sudden your husband goes off to work, and you're having to, do the laundry and everything, and all, even though you say you're your own person, the way you're raised and the input into your life comes out.
You bring that with you. Your expectations are where you were raised and what you saw. And
Chris was raised as a Southern boy. And so he was, not that he was messy or a slob, but my father was meticulous. And our house was as neat as a pin. And so Chris came into the marriage, and he would...
Mom picked up after me. I would drop my dirty clothes in the corner, and Mom would come get them. I hung my clean clothes up, but I just kind of let everything else slide.
And I know you're probably grinning and you're thinking, oh, that's no big deal. But honestly and truly, it becomes a big deal if it's not dealt with. And so I would play the martyr. Who does he think he is? And why doesn't he pick up after himself? And I'm not a servant, and da-da-da-da. And I became a nag. And all those little things add up. And I mean, the dirty socks is just one thing.
We would argue over things like the size of the soap. I'm
My
ready
father-
to throw the soap away, and Eileen will hide the big ones, so I have to use the other ones till they're smaller.
Because my father was an enlisted man. We didn't have a lot of money, so you didn't waste the soap. So you used the soap until it was almost non-existent. And Chris would throw a bar of soap almost when it was half through it, to me.
Well,
And to me, that was so wasteful. So, I mean, it's all those little things. I like to put the toilet paper over, and I know you're probably all grinning now, but it's all those little things that you're each bringing into the marriage that all of a sudden rear its ugly head, and it becomes an issue. And if you don't deal with it and talk about it, it will become a detriment to your marriage. Finances, I think...
Raising kids, all that comes in. But the thing we didn't, something we had going for us, I know at least, was the fact that my mom and my grandma were praying for us. As Eileen said earlier, we called ourselves Christians. We went to church. I knew the Bible. We sang in the choir. We taught Bible study. But I had not a clue of what it meant to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ till I was 31.
I was 26.
So Eileen went 5 years before I did. So then we had that struggle in our marriage because I told her, go ahead. If you need this, you do it. But don't expect me to come along with you. When in essence, I was scared to death that she wasn't going to like me anymore because she was changing, and I could see it. And then God got a hold of me. And when the two of us began working together with Christ as the head, it began to make a difference in our marriage. We were able to love each other more in a way I didn't know that I could. I didn't even know existed. I just thought getting along with somebody and being nice was loving them.